Ladies and gentlemen, we're here.
I'm part of the Kliq, isn't everybody?
Yes! 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 I got an idea, yeah. Beat up John Cena!
Give me a hell yeah!
Oh, a little bit of the bubbly.
Too sweet! This is where the power lies!
I am the man.
If you can survive! It's showtime, folks!
The following episode is scheduled for one fall, and it is for your listening pleasure. This is In The Kliq.
What's up, everybody? Baby Huey here, back at it for a very special episode of In The Kliq. And you know the name, you know the voice, and I could say he's a friend of the show because I've talked to him more times than any other pro wrestler. Joining me now is WWE superstar and now author, Drew McIntyre. How's it going, Drew?
Oh, it's going great. Thank you for having me back. It is mental, crazy, phenomenal. I cannot believe I have a book.
I know, dude. Congrats. So your new book, it's out now, A Chosen Destiny, My Story. It's out now through Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and all other online bookstores. And I'll have all the links posted at 1077thebone.com as well. So, Drew, I love the title. You know, it's in relation to Vince McMahon when he selected you as as his chosen one and a future world champion. So just tell me, what made you decide to write a book about your life at this point in your career?
Well, me saying, the world needs a Drew McIntyre book right now, that wrestler from Scotland. It was more I was approached with the idea, and it was brought to my attention that I was really open about my story in every interview I did, especially the more difficult times I've been through and the lessons I've learned throughout my life to become the person I am today, as well as talking about my story on the flagship show, Monday Night Raw. And they said, if you were to put this into print, we really think you could help a lot of people by telling not just your wrestling story, but especially your personal story. And I spoke to the wife about it, and I told her and told everyone involved, if we're going to do it, I want to be an open book, if you like. I don't want to hold back. I want to go into everything, all the nitty gritty, all the tough times. I'm going to lay everything out there. And if we can help somebody out there who's going through a difficult time, if they're struggling with something that perhaps I've been through or something I've been through can help them know that there's a light at the end of the tunnel, no matter how dark times get, then that's what it's all about. And I've heard some of that feedback thus far, and that's my favorite part about it because it was written to inspire people.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. The timing of this release of this book is perfect. I'm sure a lot of people are looking for guidance and or motivation during these hard times over the last year plus, especially with the pandemic. And for a lot of us WWE fans, over the years, we have seen your journey on TV. As I mentioned earlier, when Vince McMahon said you would be a future world champion back in 2009, to your release in 2014, your work outside the company, then your return to WWE in 2017. So, and then what you've been able to accomplish since then. So what aspects of your life were you looking forward to on sharing in this book? And were there any subjects that were going to be a little bit hard for you to open up about?
I was looking forward to just sharing the whole story because I'd made that decision of not holding back. It's really cool that I get to tell my family's story as well. Like I remember telling my dad, I was like, I want to inspire people and help people out there. That's what this book's all about. But our family story is going to be down in print for the rest of the time now, and that means a lot to me, means a lot to my dad, means a lot to our family, that we do get to tell our family story. We're just a family from a little town in a little country, and to have that down there for the rest of the time is pretty insane. But there was times that were difficult to talk about. The times that I struggled. Professionally was the easy stuff to talk about, especially where I'm at today. But the personal stuff, and I didn't want to hold back, so I wanted to help everybody. But it was interesting and not easy to go through the years and remember, how much I was struggling and suffering. At the top of that list was obviously my mother, the most important person in the world to me, getting sick with cancer she went through with the treatment and inevitably passed. That was hard to relive that again. And you can hear in the audiobook, like in my voice when I'm talking about it, it's still difficult to go through and talk about to this day, but it was important to me to speak about it. And that's the thing in the book as well, is I wasn't always good with emotions and opening up, and I've learned to be better at that. And it is important to open up and speak to people what's on your mind, especially if you're struggling. But I really wanted to put everything down there in print. If I could speak to one person, help one person out there, that's what it's all about. And know that if you're going through a tough time and you've got someone around you, a support system, reach out to them. If you don't, reach out on social media. Like, social media can be a very toxic place, but I've noticed over the past year when humanity really had to start standing up for each other, when someone's struggling to reach out mentally, everyone comes to them and lifts them up and supports them. And I talk about it in the book. Like, I had a friend in wrestling, I wrestled as Lionheart, Adrian McCallum, who took his life. Mm-hmm. And here's a guy who was the most confident man in the world, was doing great in wrestling, was on top of the world as far as all of us were concerned, but he was struggling on the inside and he ended up taking his life. So I wanted to put everything out there, and just if there's somebody who is going through that tough time, who feels that there's no way out, maybe something in there will spark them just to reach out and talk to somebody. Yeah, no,
I respect everything you've been able to do and write about as well. And so what I've always been kind of curious though with your career is during those years away from WWE, 2014 through 2017, what did you feel you had to work on or improve on, whether it was in the ring, out of the ring, physically or mentally? What changed during that 3-year gap to help set you up for a return to WWE and all of your success?
Well, everything changed. From a wrestling point of view, I knew I had to work on a lot of things, namely my microphone work. You know, I was never comfortable with it. I got comfortable to a certain extent in WWE. You know, Dusty Rhodes really helped me in Florida Championship Wrestling get comfortable in the microphone, but never fully comfortable, just comfortable enough to get by. And I was so concerned about learning every word on every piece of paper I was ever given. Even if there was no real emotion behind it, I was just wanting to be able to go out there and say the words, even if the words had no real emotional depth behind them. And during that period, it was very important to me to improve in that area and not just get good at remembering words, but finding myself in the microphone where I could make that emotional connection with people. When you look at all the great talkers in history, like The Rock, Stone Colds and Ric Flairs and the likes, they had such an emotional connection to everybody, and you could feel that it was coming right from their heart, right from their gut, rather than memorized from a piece of paper. And I wanted to get myself to that point where I could speak and you could see that's coming from the real person. And from the in-ring game, I was always comfortable with the in-ring game. I always felt strongly about it, but I was in 3MB my last couple of years in WWE, so I was a little bit rusty and a little bit nervous about stepping up to that independent standard at the time. Like, if you imagine like where I was at the time, I was main eventing shows in my first couple of months outside of WWE, with a show with the likes of Johnny Gargano, Roderick Strong, Ricochet, names like that on the matches before me. Then I'm on last. So I had to quickly find myself in the ring as a bigger guy and find my style to keep that crowd entertained, that hardcore independent fan entertained. So I was working in every area. I was taking as many media interviews as I could. I wanted to get better and comfortable doing the media, because I knew one day if I was trusted with the responsibility in WWE to go out there and represent the company, I had to get better at it. I had to get more comfortable with it. So I kept working on every area, and professionally things went great. I was getting a lot of platforms to ply my craft, to grow my confidence. I was faking it a lot till I made it, as I detail in the book. And I got to that level where I felt comfortable in the mic, comfortable in the ring. There was just one thing missing. Outside of the ring, I was still out of control. I was still not dealing with those emotions. I was still partying all the time. And I broke my neck, had a serious talk with the wife, made the decision to cut the negatives out of my life. That took me to the next level. My head cleared, my body improved. Within 2 months, I was back in WWE. And we detail it all in the book, but it has been a wild freaking ride. Without that 3 years away from the company, I wouldn't be the performer I am today, and certainly not the man I am today.
Wow, that's great to hear. Just, I got to ask you real quick about WrestleMania this year. First time in over a year performing in front of the WWE Universe. I love what everyone did night one, as having the whole roster out on stage, Vince McMahon welcoming everyone to WrestleMania. And then you were the first one to walk out with your music to the crowd. Just please tell me about just that whole experience and the feeling of being the first WWE superstar out in over a year in front of the fans.
Yeah, it was awesome. I remember when we went out on stage, for the anthem with the whole roster there, and Mr. McMahon at the front. Like somebody had taken my place that was supposed to be at the front of the stage, who weren't there for the rehearsal earlier, and I was happy about it because I didn't want to look at the crowd, didn't want to take in the feeling of we've not had fans in 1 year, 1 month, and 1 day. I wanted to wait until my entrance to fully experience it, so I kind of went out, kind of tried to hide in the background, had my head down most of the time. If I looked up, I looked specifically at the ring, what was going on, with the anthem being sung. And I did not want to feel that crowd. And people around me were so excited. They were jumping around. They were getting into it. They were getting emotional. But my head was down. I was like, I don't want to feel the moment until I walk out and you see in my face, it'll be my first time reaction. As soon as the anthem was finished, the crowd react. We went into the opening video for WrestleMania. I was the first one in the back, like greased lightning, just waiting to get out. I'm amped up. I'm ready to go. And then I heard about the rain delay. So right away, I'm like, of course. I got a 40-minute rain delay before I can get out there. So everybody's bypassing me and giving me fist bumps, like, start them right, big man. You got this. You've earned this moment. Go get them, champ. And I'm just like, yes, I will go get them in 40 freaking minutes. But no one else knew except me we were going to have that rain delay.
Yeah.
But thankfully, after the 40 minutes, the moment comes. We are having WrestleMania. I am the first entrant. The music plays. I walk out. I hear that reaction, which just blew me away, how loud they were. The cheers just knocked my socks off. I didn't plan to do the countdown, the 3, 2, 1, before I put the sword in the stage, but it just felt right. And to hear them all just chant along with me was so cool. Walking down the ring and just seeing faces again and hearing them just screaming. And I can, even though it's weird, it was like Superman senses where it's such a loud reaction, 25,000 people, but I can hear individual comments. It was just so unbelievable. If you look at some of the pictures, I'm basically crying, trying to contain myself, control my emotions. That entrance right there was my favorite part of this past year, probably one of my favorite parts of my career. It was so emotional.
Oh, man, I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about that again. But, Drew, listen, I know it's a busy day for you and you got to run, but I encourage everyone, go get your new book, A Chosen Destiny, My Story. It's out now. I know there's even signed copies out there. I saw a friend of mine got one. I'm so jealous. I need to get one for myself. But, like I told you before, thank you again for everything you've done, especially during this toughest part in pro wrestling history ever with the pandemic. I've told you last year, you're an amazing champion. Fingers crossed you can get it back at WrestleMania Backlash. And hopefully one day when things get back to normal, WWE can go on the road again, come through the Bay Area, and you and I can meet in person, put faces. We've done so many phone interviews together. Hopefully we can actually meet in person and just I can thank you again in person as well. So thank you for your time.
No, thank you, buddy, as always. I appreciate your time, appreciate the chats, and just like WrestleMania showed, we're getting closer and closer to getting back to normal. We're going to get that interview, and it's going to be in person. Till then, we'll do a few more. We'll get the number up to about 50, and then we're going to get that in-person interview very soon.
We've done 5 so far, and I'm your good luck charm. I keep telling you that. I'm your good luck charm. So fingers crossed, next time we chat, you'll be world champion again, okay? Thank you.
Heck yeah. Appreciate it, buddy.
All right, Drew. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.
There you have it. Thank you again to WWE superstar Drew McIntyre for being on the show. Go get his new book, A Chosen Destiny, My Story. It's out now through Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and all other online bookstores. And I'll post the links at 1077thebone.com as well as in the description of this podcast. Make sure to follow Drew McIntyre on Facebook at Drew McIntyre, Twitter and Instagram at DMcIntyre WWE. Catch all the action for WWE's WrestleMania Backlash on Sunday, May 16th, with the kickoff show beginning at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific, followed by the main show starting at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific, streaming live on Peacock here in the U.S., and the WWE Network everywhere else. Go to WWE.com for more info on how you can sign up. And you can also watch Drew McIntyre on Monday Night Raw at 8 p.m. on the USA Network. And make sure to follow WWE on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube for all the latest updates and more match announcements. All right, Kliqsters, let's go home now. Remember to subscribe to In The Kliq on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts. We're also on a ton of other major podcast platforms. Help the show out by rating, reviewing, leave a comment, and share the podcast. And also subscribe to In The Kliq's YouTube page. Watch the videos, hit the like button, and leave a comment there as well. Also, please follow In The Kliq on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Just search for @InTheKliq. Email us anytime at intthekliq@gmail.com. Once again, thank you for tuning in and for all the support. And that's the bottom line because Huey said so.